Okay, so tonight we have Shannon Grant, SSD. She's joining us all the way from North Carolina. She's built a global Scentsy empire while being a wife, mom, and an avid lover of horses. Ooh, that's fun. So we can get ready to learn from her. She's going to teach us all about Scentsy Bingo. So Shannon, you've got the floor.
Okay, awesome. I might need to share my screen at some point, so I might have
I'll go ahead and make you a co-host.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so everybody can see me. Okay, so as she said, I am Shannon Grant. I am an avid lover of horses, and tonight I almost had to cancel because I lost my horse yesterday. And I've been devastated, but I'm a believer that you show up whenever you even don't want to. And it took everything to put my makeup on to do this. So, not gonna cry. Well, let's learn some bingo. Tracy told me that you guys wanted to know about bingo, and I brought a couple little things because I don't know if you want to know about. I know now my eyes are all watery. I don't know if you want to know about in-house bingo or if you want to know about virtual bingo, but I figured I could just tell you about both. And
we want it all, Shannon. All the bingos.
All the bingos. Okay, so let me go back and tell you how I got into it. About in 2000 and I guess 19, I went to Summit and my friend Shelly Sharp, which you guys know very well, was doing in-house bingos, and she showed us all about it. And I wanted to do something completely different than I've ever done with home parties. And so I put on Facebook who wants to host a bingo. And I had about, I don't even know, like 5 people that said, I'll do it. And I took everything Shelly showed me, and then I came home and I was hosting these bingos, and then I found that people were loving it. So I started hosting my own bingos in my own home, and then we got shut down in 2020. So in 2019, this thing started up. It took off. I was hosting parties left and right, and then we got shut down. Now, at that point in my life, I was like, my Scentsy business is over because I do events like Tracy. I do home parties. I do basket parties, and everything that I do is face to face. And so I was like, either my Scentsy business is over or I better evolve. And so I took courses over the time we were shut down on how to do Instagram, how to do stories, how to have Facebook parties, I joined everything I possibly could and came up with my own bingo. So I went to my VIP page and I told them every Tuesday night, and look, I had no idea I was biting off more than I could chew, but it was so much fun. I said, every Tuesday night, we're going to have a bingo. I was like, whoever's on there, the next week you get to invite somebody. And if you invite somebody, you get a referral gift, blah, 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 right? And I'm making this up as I go because I have no idea what I'm doing. And we had a blast every Tuesday night, like clockwork. It was the one thing I looked forward to since we were completely locked down. I would be on there and we would have like 80s bingo where I would dress up like in the 80s, or we'd have Disney bingo. And I just started finding ways to evolve. This was before I knew about ChatGPT because it probably could have like saved me a lot of work. And I ended up getting like 24 new recruits that year when we were shut down through bingo. They started duplicating what I was doing and having a great time with it. And then as soon as, I guess around 21, 22, when we started opening back up again, I wasn't getting as much traffic with the bingos. I kept it going for 2 years, every Tuesday night. And I'd invite my team to it also so they could see it. Then we found ways of being able to go into my VIP group and saying, okay, because back then you could actually take a Zoom and you could like put it into a group. I don't think you can do it anymore unless you have some kind of like service. And I'd be like, okay, we're going to play bingo in my VIP group. And then if anybody wants to, do it from here, then we'll have your own links. And I was staying so busy with bingo. It was unreal. So that's why I feel like I have a lot of credibility to talk to you about it and a lot of experience. And I may give you too much information or not enough. So I want you to feel free to like ask me any questions and stop me if I need to explain it again, or at the end we can take questions, whatever you want. So just a little bit about me. I started Scentsy in 2009. I have been in Scentsy now for, what is that, 16 years. And it's been a blessing. I love it like the day that I joined. And I have 4 kids and an incredible husband. I have horses and golden retrievers and cats, and I'm an avid animal lover, especially horses. And the name of my team is Heaven Essence because it's the aroma of heaven. I like to give God the glory for everything that He's done in my life. And still trying to figure this one out from yesterday. I was like, okay, how's He gonna get the glory for this? But all bad things can be used for good. So that's what I'm believing. But anyways, that's a little bit about me. And like I told you, I've always been a face-to-face person. I've always been someone who likes to leave someone better off than when I first meet them. So it is very important to me, that human connection. So whenever this happened in 2020, it was a way for me to be able to connect again. And now people have the opportunity to either do it online or they can do it in person, or sometimes I'll even host them at my house again. And one thing I will tell you is that there's other things you can do online. You can do escape rooms, you can do Family Feud, you can do Wheel of Fortune. I mean, I've done all these because I didn't want people to get burnt out on just bingo. So that was a lot of fun. So the first thing I'll tell you, we'll go into actually a home bingo. And I had pictures. I'm gonna see if you guys can see this. If you can't see it, I will put it on the screen. It should come over. Yeah, there it is. Okay. And then, all right. So I'm trying to bring this over. All right. So I'm going to show you 2 things. The first thing is actually what my setup was. Now I'm starting back from 2019 to show you how I started this. Okay. So let me go to share and I'll tell you a little bit about it. Hold on 1 second. Let me just figure out how to do this. I just lost it. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay, there's 1. Hold on. And there's 2. Okay. I think I was hitting the wrong thing. Okay. There it goes. Set. It keeps saying it's sent. I don't see it though. Oh, it's sending it to my iPad. That's why. Now we got it. I was like, it's not on my computer. There it is. Okay, let me go back. Tell me when you see this, okay?
We can see.
Okay, you see it. Okay, so this was like my bingo setup. I brought, like, as you can see, I brought a diffuser, a warmer, an element warmer, a hand soap, some bars, laundry, and clean. I had, back then we had bath bombs, right? It said bath bombs. And then I had all these bags on the table, and they were my bingo prizes. Now, when you play bingo, you can see, can you see my cursor at all? Okay. So at the very front, you'll see the bingo cards. You can go on to Amazon and buy a set of bingo cards really cheap. So everybody got bingo cards. If they wanted 2 cards, I would say things like if you want to book a party, you can get an extra card. If you brought a friend, you get an extra card. If you wore this color, you get an extra card. And they knew it before the game started. I gave them that opportunity because I always give them opportunities to book during the party. Okay. So in the beginning, I was like, hey, if anybody wants to have their own bingo, you can have an extra card right now. A lot of people won't take that extra card until they actually feel like they really want to win, especially whenever they see what they get. So I'm also someone, like Orville says, I don't like to use family money on Scentsy. I like to use Scentsy money on family. So my free stuff and my half off stuff was always my gifts that I gave away. So they didn't hardly cost me anything. And they could have been anything from a bath bomb to a bar. It could have been in a car kit with a room spray and a scent circle. It could have been a pod and, what you call it, a fan. It could be anything you want it to be because your budget. You could go as small or as little as you wanted. Some people even love things from our Scentsy store. These are little Stanley straw toppers. And you'd be crazy. People, I mean, they were going crazy about these. So I'll go to Dollar Tree. I would pick up cute little things. If it was, I think this was around Valentine's Day. As you can see, there were some Valentine's cups in the background where I had some prizes in that. And then I also had like a big prize for my hostess. One thing you want to do, how many of you guys have done home parties? I want to see like if you guys have done one. Don't know where they are, but is it Cassie? Cassie, you can tell me, like, are there people who are saying yes, they've done home parties?
Yes, there are a couple.
Okay. All right. So you know how important it is to always in the very beginning to acknowledge your host, to thank your host, to praise your host, and give her a hostess gift. So the little heart in the back was something that I had given her. She booked this party whenever I had put it on Facebook and it said the first 5 people are going to get something special from me. And that was something that I gave her. And I think it was like it was so cute. It was the counter clean with like some little, not the counter clean, I'm sorry. It was a room spray with like some wax. And I had taken the wax and put it into like little heart samples. And so it was very cute. And then I had some candy in it. And it was just something really sweet that I could do. Anyway, so first thing I did is I was like, thank you so much for hosting the party tonight, Kim. I'm so excited about bingo. How many of you guys have played bingo before? And then people were like, I have. I was like, okay, well, this is Scentsy Bingo. It's completely different than what you've heard before. Now, I'm going to tell you 2 ways that you can play this. Number 1 is basic bingo. Basic bingo is when you use the numbers and you're calling the cards. And when you go onto Amazon, you get cards. I didn't read it very well, and I got jumbo cards, which ended up working up in my working out because I didn't know we were going to get locked down and I was going to need them. But see how big they are? So nobody can be like, what was that? So I was like, oh yeah, you can't miss that. Me too. Right? So when you're calling it out, they're able to like check it off. Something fun that I like to do. Sorry, my dog walked in. I like to do is I like to give testers out for people to use as markers. That way, whenever they have the testers, and you can see here, which I'm going to show you another one. 1 second, it's right here. I'm trying to see around it. Okay, right here. You can see I had little baskets. I got the little baskets from Dollar Tree, and it had testers in it. And then you can see these little chips that were in the little solo cups. So I gave them the opportunity to say, hey, you can use the testers and smell them while you're playing. Each basket has bakery or woods or whatever. So I gave them a way to be able to smell them while we were talking, and also to use chips if they wanted to use chips. Now, it's a pretty quick game. So a lot of them weren't smelling. They were smelling more whenever we were mingling and we were getting them to introduce themselves. And I always get them to tell at least, something fun that happened that week, because some people could come in and be like, oh my gosh, I just got fired today. And that's going to completely bring the atmosphere down. So I would be like, tell me your name, tell me how you know the hostess, and tell me something great that happened to you this week. That way they couldn't be like, oh, and just bring everybody down. And then somebody else might say, oh yeah, I had that happen too. Or yeah, I'm a grandma too. That's so exciting. And we would have things to celebrate. Anyway, so those were little goodie bags that I had their cards in. And like I said, I did it around Valentine's, and it had the bingo card in it. It had samples because, like I said, you're taking a home party and you're turning it into like a bingo party. And what I like to do is I like to give the samples of the whiffs. I like to give a sample of the scent of the month. I like to give a sample of a counter clean. I think there were 5 different samples that I put in there. And as I talked about them, they were able to like bring them out and they could look at them. Some people like to actually give out a bag, and as they are talking about certain things, they'll say, I have a sample of it, and then they'll go around and place it in everybody's bag. But since you're doing bingo, you want to keep the momentum up. So you want to do whatever it's going to work for you. 2 ways you can do this. One is whenever you start the bingo and everybody has their cards, you can say, okay, we're going to start. And you could easily say, and I'm going to give you an example. Let me just pull a couple of them. Okay. You can easily do this. You could say there's 5 areas that I'm going to talk about tonight. And the 5 areas, and I'll also have this like in a PDF if I need to give it to Tracy. The 5 categories are going to be like not washer. It's going to be warmers and wax, going to be on the go. It's going to be Scentsy air, clean and laundry and kids. Whatever you want it to be. But I always make it sound very simple, even though it's not. it has a lot of things in those areas, right? So some people do it like this, where they say, I'm going to call 5 cards and then we're going to talk about something. Or you can talk about it in between. So for example, I could say I-28. You can see up here that we have, and I'll go back to this so you can follow me right here. Let me stop my share and go back to the other one. Because like I said, they're looking behind me at my setup. But that's the same one, isn't it? Oh no, it's up there, isn't it? Okay. So I would say, as you can see behind me, I have a setup, and these are warmers. We have different kinds of warmers. And then I'd be like, what is that? 071. We have an element warmer. We have a full-size warmer. We have a nightlight warmer. And they have bases that come with the nightlight. You have ceramic and you have glass. And I'd be like, I-16. They use wax, and our wax can last up to this long, whatever it is that you guys say. I usually tell them about 80 hours for the whole thing. I'll say they come in 84 different scents or whatever it is. Also, in your bag, you have a scent of the month for this month, which is whatever it was, like cotton blossom for this month. And I'd be like, N36. And you would go through like different things about the wax. The wax comes in and buy 5, get 1 free. You can only get that through a consultant right now. You can't find that on the website. So you guys have an advantage of being able to see me tonight because I can actually get you this that no one else can get. That kind of thing you would say now. Then you could say, these are the categories they come in, and you can see the testers in front of you in the different baskets. So are you guys following me? Like how you can do this? Okay. Or you can say, I'm going to call 5 cards and then we're going to talk for a minute about what I have up here. So it's whatever you do. I did really good in being able to mix it up because I didn't want their mind to go somewhere. And I like to use it like, again, a horse. Whenever you're riding a horse, you have to look where you're going and they will go where you go. Or if you see their head turn, you got to immediately be ahead of them to keep them straight. Same with your people in a party. If you give them enough time, or if they get bored, they're going to completely space out. But you're playing a game and they're wanting to win, so they're really hanging in there. So I like to say things quick, like I just did a second ago, And then I would go warmers and wax. We would have 5 rounds of cards, and they would get 5 different cards that they could play off of each round. So whenever that would be the ones. So have you guys ever seen the bingos that you can tear them off? You can go on Amazon. You can get the first one's blue, you tear it off. The second one's green, you tear it off. Next one's orange, tear it off. That could be your 5 rounds right there because they have that pad that tears off like a Post-it note. Or you can use the ones I had and you could just keep playing off the same one. You see what I'm saying? It all depends. If they wanted an extra card, they actually got an actual hard card that I could give them. If I had the ones that tore off, which I don't have any more of those, I was looking for them. I got to get some more. Then they would just get a whole nother Post-it pad full. So that means they had a card for every one of them. Okay. So anyway, so once you were done with like the first category of wax and warmers, you always have a winner sometime probably about like 6, 7 times that you've gone through these things. So I would do like not 7. It was about, I want to think it was about anywhere between like 15 cards or something like that I would get a bingo. All depends on your people too that you have and how many you have, because if you have just a little bit of people, then you're going to want to go as fast as you can. If you have a lot of people, then you usually get bingos faster because you have more cards out there. Anyway, so at the end of the first round, I'd be like, okay, somebody says bingo, like, oh my gosh, that's so great. And I give them the bag and I'd be like, and it would be something to that category, right? So it might be like a bar of wax and a $5 coupon off of a nightlight that night. I didn't give them a nightlight, but I gave them something to go towards something to use the wax with. Or maybe I'd give them some cotton cleanups, like 5 of them, and then some wax and maybe like, a coupon or something. It was something that I could afford and that I could make duplicatable if my team were to play, right? Because we have new people that were coming on and I didn't want them to feel like they had to give away free product. All right. And like I said, everything I used was free and half off. So then I moved to like my second category and I'd be like, okay, second category is going to be about on the go. And my prize for that was a room spray. And I would be like, okay, we're going to play a game. How many pumps do you think this one room spray has? And I'd go around, like, how many do you have? And everybody would guess. And then I'd have a number in my head, like 640. And whoever got closest to that, I'd give them a ticket. Because I'll tell you about the tickets in the end. But I would keep things going fast, okay? We would go through the on-the-go products and like the scent packs and the scent circles and the car bars at the time and the vent clips at the time. And, anything, room sprays, all the things that were Scentsy on the go. Have my winner, give them a room spray. And they might have like a little coupon or something too. So that's how I was doing like my home parties, right? Then I would give them somewhere about two categories in. I'd be like, okay, does anybody want to host one of these yet? Look how much fun we're having. You get an extra card. And usually somebody would be like, oh, I want another card. Because now they're saying, oh, this is fun. I'm actually winning stuff. She's giving samples out. We're having fun. We got food. It's great. So anyway, like I said, there's usually 5 rounds. And the next one could be like Scentsy Air. And you could give them like a pod and then a percentage off of a fan, or whatever it is that you want to do. The cups were for people who did want to book. So if they got an extra card, I also gave them one of those mugs up there that had something in it. You can see up there in the mantle. And I would like leave with people who wanted to have parties because we had so much fun. And I would be respectful of a time. I would tell her we're going to start at this time, 15 minutes to mingle, get together, get the cards out. It's going to be a hard start and a hard stop. That way they could see, oh, because how many of you guys have had those home parties where you couldn't get people to stop talking or you couldn't like get out of there in time? You're like, I don't want to do a home party again. My goodness, it took 4 hours for me to get here to be able to get home. And I used to have those. So when I let the hostess know, we have a hard start and a hard stop. If someone comes in late, then they're just going to have to wait and play the second round because this is just how we do it. And because people saw that we did it that way, then they would be like, okay, I want to do that too. I also had notes over here on the side you can see, and that was like all my cheat notes of like what to say if they were in bundle and saves, which we have 10% off now. So I would have to hit things and be like, what can I tell them everything about the wax? We have bricks. If you go into a monthly club, a Scentsy club, and that would be how I would go off the wax. Like if you love this scent, it's going to go away at the end of the month because we're in February. You might want to add it to a monthly club, your Scentsy club. So that was kind of like how I did my home parties. It was very, very easy. Some people, are there any questions so far? Is everybody following okay? I want to see if anybody has any questions. Okay. So some people will actually go on into, which I will show you in a second, and they would play bingo cards with product. And so they would make different cards with different products. So instead of me calling numbers and going through the products, be like, okay, washer whiffs. And then if anybody had a washer whiff, they would exit out. And then I'd talk about 3 or 4 things about the washer whiff, say that's your sample that you have in your bag. This happens to be, clean breeze, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd be like, okay, room spray. And they would like mark off their room spray. You can go into freebingocards.com and you can make your own bingo cards, which I'm going to show you in a second. And then you could like play that way if you didn't want to do the numbers. But I would always mix it up. And I really learned how to mix it up during the virtual ones. So that's how I did the home party. Collected my orders at the end because they were playing and they were getting free things. And if they did, and you can't do pay to play, and you can't say, oh, if you spend this much, whatever. I would just always go to that. Like if you brought a friend, if you're going to bring a friend next time, if you're going to book a party, oh gosh, if you got a 6-pack pack of wax this time, guess what? I'm going to give you a free card just because. I didn't say, hey, if you spend $30, you can get a free card. I was like, if you got a 6-pack of wax, I'm going to give you a free card. You know what? Tonight, if you got laundry liquid, I'm just going to give you a free card. I didn't tell them they had to. I awarded them. And that was how I was able to do this in a public setting. All right. Any questions about the home party setup before I move to the virtual setup?
Where did you order your cards from?
Amazon.
Okay.
They have the big ones like I got here, and they got the little ones that are on that table. Because I ordered them for the virtual too and ended up getting the big ones. But they ended up working really well for virtual because people can see them and it's not real small. But everything's Amazon. The chips are on Amazon. The cards are on Amazon. The ones that pull off are on Amazon. Anything you need. You can even get, and I even had that one too. You can even get the one that has the cage that has the little, handle that you can like pull the balls. We did that too. I did all kinds of things trying to keep it, fresh and new during that time. So, any other questions? And I would book parties off of it. I got many teammates from it because I want to do this too. Can I actually get paid on it? I'm like, yeah. And I would go and help them host one. And then they got paid on it. And that was the way I would launch their parties. And like I said, this is before the world shut down. I was like having so many of these. It was unreal. And I do a few of these now and I host them myself. But I did a lot of virtual ones too. So I'll move to the virtual now if you guys are ready. All right. So for the virtual ones, let me see. It will let me share this. Hold on. Share. Let me go to the right thing. Close. All right. I think this will work. Let me know if it works. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay. For the virtual ones, you could go to myfreebingocards.com and you can customize your bingo. You can do whatever you want to. And that's what I did. I went in here and I customized a Scentsy Bingo card. And they have occasions, kids, movies, funny, whatever you want, colors, whatever. And I just did Scentsy Bingo. Now, when I would do a virtual party, I should have had this set up, but I would have the little cubes behind me that you guys have seen where people have their little setup for display. But I found it was a lot easier for me to just pull things out one by one when I was talking about them. So instead of having a great big huge display, because that wasn't duplicatable for people were like, oh, I don't have that display. I can't do this. I'm like, do you have 5 products? Like, yep. Okay. We'll talk about bars. We'll talk about a room spray. We'll talk about a fragrance flower. And you only do what you want to. There is no rhyme or reason. There is nothing. And you're going to follow the same kind of thing where you can talk about, tonight I'm going to talk about my 5 favorite things, and there are many more. And then you can get people to ask you questions and go, I would give them the digital catalog link so that they could look through it, which is the right? So they could flip through it and they could see it on their end. If I gave them my link, they could actually buy on the link. But I like to close my parties individually with people, especially with the virtual people, because you will lose people if you just let them give them a link and they think, oh, this is just for them to buy. I like for them to tell me what they want and close it. So with this, everybody who would get on there, I would make a card. If you go on here, so let's just see if this works. And it says, you can read all about, okay, so 30 cards for free. Well, let me do this. Can you guys see this? Did it go where it needed to go? Okay. And then this link here. So if I take this link, copy link, and then go into the chat, I'm trying to find the chat. And if we're doing it on Zoom or whether we were doing on Facebook Live, I would post this. And each person who clicks that link, it should give you a different card than it would give someone else. So if I were to click that link, I don't know if it's going to show it or not. It might. Did it come up? Do you see it? It gave me a card. And so each person would get a different card. And if that wasn't working, that was fine, because they have always had a backup plan to where individual links. So if it wasn't working, no problem. I have 15 people on. Guess what? There's 30 different links here. I can do that. If they want an extra card, just like I was doing whenever we were doing the home parties, hey, if you want to book your own virtual, if you want to do this, you get an extra card. All I have to do is go down below and give them another card. None of them are the same. They are completely random, and it worked every single time. So that was nice because everybody had their own card and they could pull it up on their computer or on their phone and they could watch what I was doing. Some people even like to print it off. Now, you're probably wondering, how did I know that they were telling the truth, right? So I have, as you can see, there is a actual, if you click these and then you go into the game, it will actually show you all the cards together. The hostess would actually get that. And her job was to keep up with, if someone said bingo, she would keep up with what I called and she would check their cards behind me. So I would always get someone, if there was a new person who joined Scentsy and they were a new teammate and they wanted to do this, first thing I would do is I get them to be my moderator on my bingo and show them how I would do it and then teach them how to do it with their hostess. Because every single thing you do is duplicatable. Okay. You don't want to make anything too hard. You don't be like, oh, I only can do that. Everybody wants to be able to do the same thing. And then we would start out the same way where I would do the same exact thing. Okay, guys, everybody got their cards. Does anybody want to host one of these? Or you might want to decide somewhere, during the game that you want to host it. If you do, you can raise your hand, or I'm going to ask again in a little bit. Did anyone invite a guest tonight? And if you are a guest, can you raise your hand? And you could do it through Zoom. And if you did it through Facebook Live, I told them I'm seeing real time here. So I'm going to call out who I see first. So if Tracy said bingo and I saw it on my side, but on her side, it might have said something completely different. Or maybe somebody else, said, I did bingo first, but theirs was after her. I did real time. So I would be like, I'm going off of mine. And or I would talk to the moderator and say, do you want to call bingo? I mean, do you want to be the first one to say bingo? Because sometimes they would all say bingo. And the reason is because another way you can do virtual bingo is you can do the cards, or you can do like what I told you, which is you can make the ones with like the different products, or the easiest one, if you don't have the cards and you want to start bingo tonight and you don't, you're like, oh, I don't have everything, doesn't matter. You can tell everybody to pick numbers between 0 to 75. You don't have to worry about the letters. You don't have to worry about anything because it's just numbers. The cards are the letter and the number so that they can actually play and put squares. But if you just wanted to play, you could say, pick, 5 numbers between 0 and 75. And what I would do is I would have a whole cup of just numbers from 0 to 75. And I'd start like 5, 17, 25, whatever. And then people would be like, bingo, bingo, bingo. And then they would have to write down what their numbers were before the game started. They would say, these are my 5 numbers I picked. That way the moderator would be like, yep, Shannon called out those numbers and this is how I do it. Many times I didn't have a moderator and I would do it myself. And I'd say, okay, let's check this. And I would write down exactly what it was that I had called out. And then I would be able to go in there and check. Most people won't lie because they know they were going to be checked. And I told them in the beginning that you're going to be checked. So don't lie. And I didn't ever catch anybody lying. So that was good. Anyway, so like I said, I would start out that way. They'd have their card and I'd say, all right, we're going to talk about my first favorite thing. And we do it again and be like, wax. Wax is awesome. Wax. I actually fell in love with Flirtatious. It's not available anymore, but I have it in my Scentsy Club. And the Scentsy Club is blah, 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 blah. And then I would be like, okay, B14. And I would do exactly what I did with the home party setup and go through it. If I had the numbers, 5, still tell them about the wax and tell them it was 5, get 1 free, a 6-pack, 20, call out the numbers. So you do it however you want to. If you don't think you can think that quickly in between the numbers and the product, then just say, hey, I'm going to talk about this product for about, 10 seconds and I'm going to call a number. And then I'm going to talk about this product again and I'm going to call a number. Or I'm going to talk about this product for about 30 seconds and then I'm going to call 5 numbers. Whatever it is that worked for you. You got to figure out your time and you got to be respectful for that. Then if people won whenever they were on Facebook, or Zoom, I'd be like, okay, because we have the rule of, not being able to reveal what it is that they won, right? Because everybody should be able to duplicate what we're doing. So I would have like a little bag and be like, oh my gosh, you won this. I'm so excited. I'm going to message you, what's in it. But it always has to do with my category that I'm talking about, hint, hint, whatever it is. And then when I would message them, I might say something like, hey, you won a bar and a $10 gift card, or not $10 gift card, $10 coupon off of like a nightlight. Or if you host a party, let's make it like this instead. Up to you though, either way you won. a lot of people would be like, oh, I want to upgrade. Let's do a party. And then they would get that other thing. So all of my individual messages and everything, because if they were on Facebook, I was able to just message them right away because I saw them on there. I mean, at the end. And then if they were on Zoom, my moderator would catch all their information, or I would privately message them in a chat and be like, hold on, guys, let me just send Tracy a message and she can think about it while we're playing this game. And so it was a way that I was able to actually have interactions with them. And then if they were like, okay, I'm gonna get a bar and whatever, I'm like, well, what kind of scents do you like? Oh gosh, I don't know, whatever. I'm like, hey, I got a great idea. Why don't I get you the testers? You go through all the scents, choose the bar you like, choose the nightlight you like, and guess what? If you happen to share it with a couple other people, you get free stuff and half off stuff on top of that, right? Like, oh, that sounds great. Now I've got a basket party. So that was my goal for every single virtual bingo. That's why I had 24 people join that year, because I turned every conversation with the people who won bingo and the people who wanted extra cards into an upsell of whether they wanted this or that kind of thing. So then, like at the end, when we were done with all the categories, some people didn't win and stuff. Like, okay, guys, sorry if you didn't win, but come back next week. If you come back next week, your chances are even greater. And you know how this runs. So if you bring a friend, you're going to have a gift. If you have a referral for someone, do whatever. Because some people were like, when they come to my home party, everybody got a goodie bag, right? I did it different ways because I did it for 2 years. I had a jot form at one time. Everybody who was going to go to my bingo party on Tuesday, because I really relied on the mail a lot during that time. And now, obviously, we can still do it. It's a little bit more expensive now. But I'd have a jot form and they would write down what their name was, what their favorite scent was, whatever it was. If they'd ever tried Scentsy products, what they'd try, all these things. I have the actual form I would send out. And that way I'd have their information and I could put together a little goodie pack that could go out in the mail. So when we were on the Zoom and we were on the Facebook Live, I'm like, all right, guys, I'd have enough time. All right, bingo's going to be next Thursday. Fill out this form. They would get their little goodie pack in the mail. And it was very, very important to me to get things in people's hands whenever it's a virtual party. A virtual party, if they don't know what it smells like, or if they have never tried the product before, they're still going to play because they want to win, but they might not order. But if you were to send them something like a showcase brochure or a product list and a few samples and something, and maybe like on your third order you can get this percentage off or whatever it is, right? Or this expires here. A lot of people would give coupons and never put like an expiration date. That's, to me, you're missing a lot. If you say, okay, I'm going to do this event and it's going to expire at the end of the month, you're guaranteeing someone to order from you to be able to use that. But if they think that it's going to expire at the end of the year, you're never going to hear from them again. And then I'll remind everybody, if they got one of those, don't forget this expires on this date. So don't forget, if you want this, then you can use this. If you look in your goodie bag, everybody got a little coupon just for coming tonight. And I really appreciate you. The people who did not come that night, they still got the goodie bag and I was still able to contact them. And then maybe I got an order from them, but they didn't get to play bingo because they didn't show up. So you're going to use the same tactics that you would have for a home party and for a, in-home bingo party on virtual, except you just had to be smarter and be like, how can I give them the cards? This is how I gave them the cards. How can I get them the scents to smell? Well, I gave them their sample packs. And if they really wanted to smell them, I'd sign them up for like a basket party, like I did the girl in the conversations. How can I get them to join? Hey, you want to host your own bingo party? You can even get paid on it if you want to. Let's see how that goes. And I would just keep the excitement up, because you have to keep an upbeat momentum to move through. And like I said, if they know I'm going to get on, and all those people used to be like, okay, Shannon starts exactly at 8 and we're off by 9. Always. Sometimes it was a little bit earlier, but I didn't go over. So people would be like, oh, I said I was going to watch Survivor with my husband, but I'll always play bingo with Shannon. And I would have, like, in the beginning, I probably had like 5 people. The next week they'd bring a friend and I'd have 10. The next week, then they'd bring a friend and I'd have like 20. And I think when I got to about 40, I had to like split it up and do like 2 different times that I did bingo, because some of it got like so overwhelming for me. And I have something called a fear of success. It's not a fear of failure, because fear of failure is scared that you're going to start something and you're going to fail at it. My thing is a fear of success. Scared I'm going to start something and it's going to get so big that I'm not going to be able to handle it. So I know what I'm going to touch and what I'm going to try and do is going to work because I'm going to put 100% into it. So I had to make sure I had some kind of system, some kind of follow-up system, some kind of like, okay, well, maybe these people stay home. Well, not stay home, but maybe these people are better during the day and these people are better at night. And I would do like 2 different times because I was home and I could do it whenever. Now I have quite busy life with, running everywhere. And I would go and, ride my horse like 3 times a week, which, like I said, she died yesterday. So that's changing. Have to get another one. I do have one more, but she was my heart. But I I do Scentsy basically because of the freedom that it gives me. Because I wanted to design a life, around my life. I wanted to design a business around my life and not, my life around a business. And when I used to work somewhere, I remember not being able to go to my daughter's recitals or not being able to go and do these things. And I was just handcuffed to a lot of things. And so I was like, whatever I do in life, I want freedom. And that's why the horses come in play because of the freedom I have for that and the freedom that I can work my business with virtual bingo parties, in-home bingo parties, home parties, events, fundraisers. I mean, I do it all. And I tell my team, I'm like, don't just put all your eggs in one basket. Don't just rely on post and praying. Don't just rely on social selling. Yes, it's going to work, but people like me, I don't stay on my phone all the time. My phone ended up becoming a big nuisance because during the time that during whatever the lockdown and all the things, we were all on our gadgets. And I found myself not being present as much as I should have been present. And so I have like a rule where I won't check my phone after a certain time. And then I won't do certain things at a certain time. And people know that now. And when I meet people, I always flip my phone upside down. That way they know you're more important than this screen right now. And a lot of people will say, when I met you the other day at Starbucks, I really appreciate the fact that you flipped your phone over. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's totally habit for me. I had to train myself. I'd be like, flip it, Shannon. And now it's the first thing I do when I lay it down, even at home. But I had to learn how to really be present with people. So because of that, there are a lot of people like me out in the world that don't want to be a slave to their phone. I don't want to be a TikTok star. I don't want to be like all the things that people are doing. I mean, I do fun reels and stuff with my horses, but I don't want to be a slave to my phone. I want connection. I want to have real, true conversations. I want to get to know people. I want to know their favorite scents, their favorite drinks. I want to know enough about them so I can invite them to my team, to invite them to my team page to check us out for a while, to send them a happy birthday, or to say, hey, I'm celebrating this with you. Your daughter graduated. That's fantastic. I like to know people. I don't post and pray. So these bingos were a way that I could actually get that interaction. And when those people would come and they would join us virtually or they would be in my home or their home or whatever, I would have those connections made where if, like I told you, they would tell me something great that had happened during that week, or they'd have to tell me 4 things about themselves. They'd, Easter bingo one time. It wasn't on Easter, but it was during the week of Easter, and everybody got different Easter eggs, and depending on how many they got, it's like that many things they had to tell about themselves. And I would write it on their order forms, like when they would actually check out with me. Oh, she wants to go to Aruba one day. That's like her favorite. And I would ask certain questions. I'm sure Tracy has done this, but I would ask certain questions about if you could go anywhere in the world, where would it be? If you had a magic wand and you could just put this over your life, how would it look? And I would do those things during games, virtual games. I would just add these things to find out more about people. Because people will tell you, oh, I wanted to be a teacher and I never got to be a teacher. And you're like, oh, she's got a servant's heart. She's going to be somebody that I could talk to. She likes people. She likes teaching. She likes educating. She would love our self-development. I mean, all those things. So I believe that Bingo really blessed me a ton by being able to do this in person and to be able to do it virtually. And I still have people all the time saying, hey, when I'm saying, hey, do you want to have a party? Because I promise you, home parties are not dead. They're not. I saw somebody the other day saying home parties are dead. Home parties are not dead. I did an event Saturday and I had 3 people ask me, do you do home parties? Do you do parties like Pampered Chef does where they come in your home? And I'm just like, yes, I used to do them all the time. I would love to have one for you. Like, okay. And then I go ahead and get her the link and tell her I'm going to get her the basket party because I'm going to set her up for success. Hey, do you want to do a bingo or do you want to do like a home party? And this is the difference. And most people will say bingo because they know there's prizes involved. Did they know that people will come for bingo? And they know there's a hard start and a hard stop. So I think that's pretty much it. Is there any questions?
This is so good. My mind is just racing because I'm thinking this would be like such a fun way to launch new consultants' businesses.
Mhm.
You know, instead of just the traditional home party situation, I think this would just be really exciting and fun. And it's a good thing because you're teaching them obviously and then how to do it. So then they can do it with, you know, for their future. Anybody, a home party, a traditional home party, I mean, anybody can pull that off and anybody can do the bingo too. But I don't think we think to start with the bingo and then teaching that because I mean, I don't know anybody that doesn't enjoy bingo. It's just fun.
It's a lot of fun. And you know, like I said, the goodie bags, I would have like the washer with samples so that whenever I would do washer with, like, okay, if you look in your bag, this is the washer with, there's no crystals, blah, blah, blah. Scent of the month this month, cotton blossom, whatever. That's what you have in your bag. This is cotton blossom. This would probably go under the category of this. So they were actually able to like touch things and do it. There were plenty of times though that I did not have bags that I got out in time because like I said, that fear of success set in where I was like, oh, how am I gonna get out all these bags? How am I gonna do this? How am I gonna be able to mail it? Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so expensive. Instead, I was like, I'm gonna trust that they're gonna show up and take my word for it. And that's where that like no trust comes from. If they trust you, they trust that you're going to tell the truth. I mean, I don't like bakery scents that much. So if the scent of the month was a bakery, I'd be like, ugh, I do not like bakery, you know, and I'd be like, but y'all might like bakery. Who likes bakery on here? And people like, me. What do you like? I like baked apple pie. I like this. Okay, that's great. I can't do bakery. And then I would do something like, oh, I love this. This is so great. And so they would start to trust me and people would message me and go, I want to get 6. I don't know which ones, pick them for me. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of pressure. But then I realized if you don't have that like no trust, why would they buy from you? Why, you know, that's what influencers do anyway. They go on there and show you that perfume and tell you how amazing it is. And we hadn't even smelled it. And we go
Right.
and buy it because they're saying that. So you're going to
Yep.
do the same thing with these virtual
Mhm.
parties. And whenever you're doing it, well, if you're doing it in home, then they can smell it. But
Well, I'm thinking we all need to have our own bingo. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking I need to do my own personal bingo, like for my people.
yeah,
Like, I just think this would be so fun. I cannot thank you enough. This has been a topic that's been brought up several times by my teamies. And because I hadn't done it, I was like, oh, we got to get somebody who knows the drill, who knows how to do this. So I cannot thank you enough, Shannon. I so appreciate your time this evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
you're
And
welcome.
I hope you get to enjoy the rest of your evening.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.